to Fundamentals of Cybersecurity, CSCI150N. This is Chapter 1, Introduction and Security Trends, and I'm your instructor, Peter Keurig. For this video, we'll go over the security problem, targets and attack, approaches to computer security, and ethics. So, 50 years ago, companies did not conduct business across the internet. Online banking and shopping were only dreams and science fiction stories. But today, millions of people perform online transactions every day. Companies rely on the internet to operate and conduct business, and vast amounts of money are transferred via networks, in the form of either bank transactions or simple credit card purchases. There are many different ways to attack computers on a network. So the book defines computer security as when the computer does what it is supposed to do and only what it is supposed to do. The book also defines information security as information being protected from unauthorized access or alterations and ensuring it is available to authorized individuals when required. Information assurance is a term used to describe not just the protection of information, but a means of knowing the level of protection that has been accomplished. So, for those of you who noticed in my introduction, I am an information assurance manager as well as an information system security manager. What that means is the information system security manager, I'm in charge of securing the systems and ensure that all the protection mechanisms that we're using are properly implemented. The information assurance side is going one step further in actually testing and ensuring compliance to let the data owners know that their systems are properly secured. It's the next level of management above just managing the security itself. Cybersecurity refers to the actions taken by an organization to ensure freedom from danger and risk, to the security of the information in all its form, electronic and physical, and the security of the systems and networks where information is stored, accessed, processed, and transmitted, including precautions taken to guard against crime, attack, sabotage, espionage, accidents, and failures. So if you look at the history of cybersecurity incidents, or security incidents as a whole, the pre-90s was mostly phone company hacks, often referred to as phreaking. That's where the 2600 term comes from. The Captain Crunch whistle that was found that allowed phreakers to make free tolled calls on payphones. And then somewhere around the 1990s to approximately 2010, we started seeing most notably viruses and worms. And the book lists a good number of them. And some web defacements, and some exploration of critical infrastructure such as power and water. But under the current threat environment, 2010 and beyond, malware has really taken off. You can find malware on cell phones. You can find malware in PDF files, office documents, just everywhere. There's very few places that malware hasn't infiltrated in some form or another. You've also seen during this current trend large data breaches. We're talking Target, Home Depot, TJ Maxx, where there's been a large number of consumer data and credit card numbers or personal information, medical records from the Blue Cross Blue Shield hack, things of that sort. And we're also seeing industrial systems. So you got the Stuxnet and the German steel mill that got hacked, and others on top of that. Nation states, specifically nation states that have a vested interest in competing with us on a technology level and in a consumer level, they save money on research and design by infiltrating our companies and stealing their research ideas and then making it part of their own, making whatever adjustments they want to make. But it saves them billions of dollars, which allows them to compete against American companies because they're not spending the millions and billions of dollars doing the research. So the book talks about threats to security, viruses and worms. Now, first off, worms are self-replicating programs that can spread themselves through a network on their own. Viruses are very much like biological viruses in the sense that they need a host program in order to self-replicate. So often they attach themselves to programs or other files such as documents, in order to replicate and to be passed on. Then we have intruders, and if you take a look at the image right next to on the right hand side of the slide, this represents intruders. So you got the script kiddies, which are the lower level of technical expertise. These are people who often use scripts or pre-built programs to do their hacking. So for example, we're using in this course Kali Linux, which has several tools in it that can help a script kiddie to break into a system using known exploits. Then you have script writers. These are people who are more advanced, who look at known vulnerabilities and write scripts or programs to help to exploit those vulnerabilities. And then finally you have the elite folks. These are the top 1 to 2%ers in the hacker community. These are people that not only know how to write their scripts to exploit known vulnerabilities, but these are the people who can actually go out and find new vulnerabilities that previously nobody knew about. That's known as 0 days in the industry. Insiders, though, tend to be the biggest threats. And the reason for that is these are people who are already trusted. They've been vetted by the organization. They've been given access to their systems. So they already know where the important data is, or can at least start in the right direction. They know a lot of the security measures that are in place, and can probably get themselves around some of the security measures with enough time, because they work within the organization, and they're not. The organization may not necessarily be looking for them. Then you have criminal organizations such as Russian crime rings and the Nigerian scammers. And then finally, the biggest threats on the long term is advanced persistent threats. Now, though insider threats are big because they have the immediate access to the information, advanced persistent threats, they can take their time. They're nation states or terrorist organizations that are well funded, and they're not in a hurry to do what they're going to do. Their plans are looking long term down the road and how to affect us. They're not looking necessarily for immediate gain. So the book talks about security trends, the interconnection of more devices. As we talked about in my introductory video, that's what we call the Internet of Things. It's the more connectivity that we're having every day. Your refrigerators, your thermostats in your home, your garage door opener, things that go far beyond just a computer to go out and do some kind of work or web browsing, things that we connect for convenience or better control. The move from hacking for notoriety to significant monetary gain. So it used to be that hackers during the 80s and 90s and early 2000s were doing it mostly just to get notoriety within their communities. Now there's significant monetary gain. You can see this with the TJ Maxx, the Home Depot, the Target hacks, and so forth. And why do they do it? Well, it's simple, because the risks are low and the payoff is high. We have heard about all these big hacks for millions and millions of dollars, such as the Target hack, but we have not heard of any arrests, or if there are, they're few and far between. So they're low risk and high payoff for the people who are involved in these. So there might be overall a lot of different types of targets, but the book does a good job of narrowing it down to two types of targets: the specific targets and opportunistic targets. Specific targets are chosen attacks for a reason. They hold something or represent something, and they take more efforts. So a specific attack may be somebody wanting to break in and get the latest plans on, let's say, a military jet. And they're going after specifically the manufacturer of that jet. So they're going to take more time, and it's going to take more effort to find a way in. Opportunistic targets are things such as phishing scams and other things of that sort, where they can cast a broader net. They're just looking for an opportunity because somebody is naive and willing to do what they're looking for. So the book discusses three approaches to computer security. The first is correctness, ensuring that a system is fully up to date with all patches installed and proper security controls in place. Correctness begins with a secure development lifecycle, continues through the patching and hardening of the system, and culminates its operation. Now, one article I read stated that approximately 80% of all major breaches are the result of a patch or vulnerability that's been patched for at least 6 months, but was not on a particular system that was hacked. So, once again, correctness is ensuring that it's fully up to date with all patches, and you eliminate approximately 80% of your risk by doing so. Isolation. Protecting a system from unauthorized use by means of access control and physical security. So isolation begins with infrastructure, continues with access control, and includes the use of cryptography. So basically not letting anybody touch the system unless they absolutely need to. Then obfuscation. Making it difficult for an adversary to know when they have succeeded, whether accomplished by obscurity, randomization, or obfuscation. Increasing the workload of an attacker makes it more difficult for them to succeed in their attack. So, for example, if you encrypt something twice over, they might not know that they've succeeded in cracking the first level of encryption because they still have an encrypted message sitting in front of them. Or maybe setting up a honeypot so that they think they've broken into the system that they're looking for. In reality, they've broken into a system that was set up for them to find and get into and allow you to observe what they were doing. So the book rounds out this chapter with ethics. It's commonly defined as a set of moral principles that guide an individual's or group's behavior. Because information security efforts frequently involve trusting people to keep secrets that can cause harm to the organization. If revealed, trust is a foundation to the personnel side of security. Trust is built upon a code of ethics, a norm that allows everyone to understand expectations and responsibilities. There are several different ethical frameworks that can be applied to making a decision. So if you join an organization such as ISC Squared, let's say you get your Certified Information System Security Practitioner certification, you are expected to follow a code of ethics. Failure to do so could result in you losing your certification and being barred from future certification. So the security practitioner field takes trust and ethics very seriously. I'm your instructor, Peter Keurig, for Nashville Community College. Thank you for watching.